Jamaica. Make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
The end to birthright citizenship is just one of these things that Donald Trump signed into being on his first day as the 47th President of the United States of America. Trump, who was 45 and of course is now 47, says he will keep his promise to deport millions of illegal immigrants from the United States, purging the US, he says, of those who would rob, kill, and turn the country into something that America ought not to be. Is he overreacting, and do those, especially our Caribbean brothers and sisters who are not straight in the United States, do they really have much to fear? Is Trump the harbinger of doom and deportation, as so many will have you believe? We'll have that discussion today with two men and a lady eminently qualified to tackle this subject. Well, he's back, officially back in business, and he is right in the saddle again, like that Gene Autry intro to the Gene Autry Western series that I watched as a boy. But Donald Trump says, look, he's going to keep his promise to rid America of illegal migrants, and he has moved to end birthright citizenship. And only today came news that he had authorized ICE to go into churches, hospitals and schools to arrest illegal migrants. Of course, under the Biden administration, that was prohibited. Trump has removed that handcuff from the ICE authorities, and so they'll be able to go wherever they believe that people who ought not to be in the United States are lurking. But more on that later, especially when I turn to my guests. For now, just what is facing the United States and the world in Trump's second coming? We'll answer those questions for you.
Donald J. Trump was sworn in as the 47th President of the United States, staging one of the greatest political comebacks ever recorded. The day Donald Trump entered the political scene from the elevator at Trump Tower, he pulled off many impossibles. He won the 2016 election, defying the polls, became one of modern America's most unconventional presidents, defying the rules of politics. He went on to lose his re-election bid in 2020 with a landslide victory to Joe Biden. He led the Republican to an underperformance in the 2022 midterms, but went on to become the Republican nominee and eventually become president. While some celebrate the rise of the political phoenix who was once a liberal, now being championed as the savior and redesigner of America's left, many in America fear the implication of the man who ran using racial dog whistles and articulated hardline positions on immigrants.
You know, when they I think the real number is 15, 16 million people into our country, when they do that, we got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. They're pouring into our country. Nobody's even looking at them. They just come in. The crime is going to be tremendous. The terrorism is going to be, and then we built a tremendous piece of the wall, and then we're going to build more.
President Trump has promised to deport illegal immigrants. A number around 11 million strong in the U.S., threatened to close the Mexican border, to deport families of mixed immigrant status, and birthright citizenship, and to punish sanctuary cities like New York, which host a sizable Caribbean diaspora. For those who called out Trump's comments as bluff, well, Trump has started what may be a very long-last laugh, signing a suite of executive orders on his first day, with many being fulfillment of promises said on the campaign trail. Now, many promises regarding immigration may be more complex and require the support of Congress and mass allocation of resources to exercise some of the monumental changes to the immigration framework. Don't be too confident in those supposed guardrails on Trump's authority, as he has the support of a Republican-controlled Senate and House of Representatives, a conservative majority on the Supreme Court, and a strong perceived electoral mandate from the American electorate to fix the country's immigration problem.
I will very simply put America first.
Well, that means countries often reliant on American aid and support might be the first to bear the brunt of this new Trumpian America First era. The Caribbean diaspora and their politicians are working on how to Trump-proof their lives. Governments of the Caribbean, well, they're watching and strategizing the pivot as the nature of the strategic partnership with the U.S. is bound to change, as the man who now holds residence at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has signaled his appetite for being the disruptor in chief.
Those who fear Trump's second coming says he will destroy America and the world, but his supporters say, well, Trump is that one product that does what it says on the tin. Break time, back with more after these. My guests will speak with me.
We are back, bigger and better.
We still the same ones.
Let me tell you.
A big deal, something, not tell a lie.
Let's go!
Bad man Jamaican.
We are here.
Double sensation. Mob until the day comes.
It's a vibe.
Listen, new adventures.
Quite exciting.
Green, yellow, black flag.
We'll find the crevices and the corners.
Whether it be Magati in a town, yeah.
You don't think it's nothing yet?
Easy yourself.
Yard man style when I come true.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winford Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Wednesday, January 22, the battle resumes. Game 1 was all about sunshine, but the Spar Proteas want to rain on this parade. The National Indoor Sports Centre welcomes the two netball giants. It's Jamaica versus South Africa, Game 2 in the Margaret Beckford Sunshine Series, and it's live on CVM TV, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Tune in to see it happen.
Sunshine Series, brought to you by KFC, Ray and Nephew, Chris and Charles.
Right, so Trump was on a signing frenzy on Monday's first day of his second presidency. So what has been the reaction on social media? Well, we just took a sample of some of the responses for you. Instagram, Des Jamdong. The fact that black people think a white man that's never been poor can relate with our struggles is beyond me. Just say you're glad for the tax cuts that's only going to benefit the rich, my guy. Wandering Jamaican. To the Jamaicans who voted for Trump because they believe Biden administration is more tolerant of homosexuality, good luck as the coffers start to dry up. Another one from Instagram. Miss Marla, every scroll I see this man has signed a new executive order. Damn, this ish about to get so real. Shout out to all the Jamaicans who voted for him. X, Dale, the 1876. I'm doing a good enough job of reading and then ignoring. One blatant strategy of his is to issue threats and then try to negotiate. I refuse to let the shenanigans affect me. Could be echoing China's words there around TikTok. Ayana Harper says, very, very, very hard to stay optimistic. Wow. Talk about inspiring. That is certainly pulling the pall of gloom even lower over the situation. Well, Blaine Stoddart is president and CEO of BFW Group, and Sekou Clark, you know him well. He is a Jamaican. He's a US-based immigration attorney, and he'll have a lot of matters to handle over the coming years, one suspects. Gentlemen, welcome to Lead Story again. Happy New Year to you, and thank you for your contribution in 24.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's great to be here as well. Happy New Year as well.
Good. All right. Blaine, let me start with you. Sekou won't mind. What's facing us now? Already we hear that 22 Democrat-led states and a couple of civil liberties organizations have joined together to file a lawsuit trying to block some of Trump's executive orders, especially the one concerning the end to birthright citizenship. Is this the way the presidency will manifest over the next, well, certainly over the first year, where Trump will make decisions, a coalition will take him to court trying to challenge it. Meanwhile, people continue to live under the proverbial sword of Damocles?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a combination. Obviously, I think that first thing he's going to do is shut down the border completely. He's going to send troops to the southern border of the United States, and he is going to rebuild the wall that he promised in 2016. So that's going to happen. In terms of how people are going to live, if somebody is an illegal immigrant, they're going to feel like they're under the gun at all times. And so people that are illegal immigrants will probably stay indoors more, try to move around at night. I don't know when ICE is coming, but people will be living under the proverbial gun. I do think, listen to me carefully, I sat here the first time and people were like, Kamala, Kamala, Kamala. I'm like, you don't understand.
Yes.
This man has 75 million followers and he just needs a couple more million to become the president of the United States. So he's 75 million followers voted for him, and a couple people from the minority coalition that's normally with the Democrats went over and voted for Trump, especially in the Latino community. 48% of Latino women voted for Trump and 53% of Latino men. So Trump carried the Latino community, which is normally part of the Democratic coalition. In addition to that, Kamala Harris could not do an interview. She cannot do a stand-up interview. She flubbed them. She could not answer a question in an articulate manner. And again, that built up the Trump roller coaster. But yes, everybody's going to be living under the gun. Obviously, our coalition's going to sue every time? Absolutely. Here's a surprise. You ready for this?
Yeah.
The Supreme Court at all times is not going to vote with Trump. Even though there's 6 conservative justices on the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court will be the banner that you need to look at. Now, whether this is going to become a totalitarian society, the Supreme Court banned TikTok, and then Trump said, you can't, I'm not going to ban you for a couple more weeks. So who is in charge? The Supreme Court under United States law is the final say. And so we have to be very careful when the Supreme Court says something and then Mr. Trump says something else.
Yeah.
This is not a communist nation. This is a democracy. So the democracy is tethering right now, and we'll have to see what happens.
Yes, indeed. Sekou Clark, does ICE have the resources now, or will it get the resources to be able to undertake the kind of mass deportations that Trump's supporters have been baying for and that he says he will permit?
Well, to remove 11 million people in 4 years, it's never been done. I don't think ICE has the resources, and there are even whispers that Trump is already doubling back, or I should say doubling down on the timeline in which he thinks that he will be able to fulfill the promise of ICE. He'll definitely make an attempt, but 11 million people in 4 years, I think it's overly ambitious, and and not possible. I mean, previously the record was under the Clinton administration, which I believe was 1.7 million in a 4-year period. So I personally don't think that will happen. And I do believe that Trump at this moment, as he's been advised, based on the cost and the utility involved to get that executed, I don't think that will happen.
Your reaction, Siku, to the news that emerged only a couple of hours ago, that ICE was now authorized to raid hospitals, to raid schools, and to raid churches, to drag grandma who is suspected to be an illegal immigrant out of the pew and out of the service to deport her. He now is authorizing all those things that Biden had said no to.
I mean, there are no surprises in that. I mean, he did promise that on his campaign trail. The border Cesar did underscore everything that Trump promised in terms of accessing illegal immigrants. So, simply put, wherever they are, they will find them. So for me, there are no surprises where that's concerned. And I believe they meant to start in Chicago to begin with, and they delayed that. But they will be moving with forward progress. There's no surprises.
Wow, it seems as if you're in the right business after all, Siku. You'll be having a lot of work on your hands. And not to make fun of a serious situation, but that's just the reality of it. Let's take the break and come back, gentlemen, pick up the conversation. We're talking about Donald Trump's second coming, what it means for illegal migrants, and how practical are the plans that he has vowed to implement now that he gets a second bite at the cherry.
Where the difference is made, where titles are decided, where respect is earned. Excel here and you could go down in history. It's the final third. CVM TV's weekly JPL preview show every Sunday, starting 30 minutes before our live broadcast. Get insight, analysis, and hear from your favorite players weekly, just before we bring you our feature broadcast for the day. Move from defense to attack and join us in the final third. This and every Sunday until the end of the JPL season.
What would you do if a date asked you how much you weigh?
Ask him how much his mama weigh.
All new Family Feud.
Get ready for Why Not Wednesday with Tom Mighty. First up, the Word. We've got you covered in Wednesday service. Then we book it to the Sunrise Library with Joel Nomdarcom in Sunrise Book Club. We'll head to Medical Space for morning checkup, then wrap things up with the latest in the CVM watch list. Why Not Wednesday is powered by Flow. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
Donald Trump is back, and with it, fresh worries for those migrants who are in the United States and don't have legitimacy in the country. Of course, many people of Caribbean descent find themselves in that position now and are very uncertain about their near, their immediate, and their midterm future as Trump gets ready and gets busy putting the necessary rules in place to have them turfed out of the country in short order. Siku Clark, US-based immigration attorney, is with me, along with Blaine Stoddard, president and the CEO of the BFW Group. So, Siku, here's the thing. In terms of the birthright issue, can you explain what that is in practical terms for those of us here who may not be quite au fait with what the birthright allowance was, and how what Trump signed on Monday affects that?
Okay, so simplistically put, prior to Trump, the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution allowed any person born on United States soil would automatically get U.S. citizenship. However, the executive order to end that birthright citizenship it states that if a child is born in the US to illegal parents, they will no longer receive the benefit of United States citizenship. What is now required is that one or both parents either be a United States citizen or a legal permanent resident. Also, and this may affect a lot of my Jamaicans, is if you are on a visiting visa and you enter the US and you have your child in the US, it will no longer automatically receive US citizenship if a parent is not a legal permanent resident or US citizen.
So does that mean, especially the last part, I'm very keen on that, if it is that a mother who is a Jamaican, who has no other citizenship but Jamaican, but she's seen friends and other family members who are pregnant go to the States to have that baby comes back to Jamaica months later as a US citizen, but she herself, the parent and the father, no ties to the United States. You're saying that that ends now by virtue of what Trump signed yesterday?
Correct.
The challenge, well, you grounded the Birthright facility in the U.S. Constitution. Well, you said the 14th Amendment. How likely, with that anchoring, how likely is it that the legal challenge to what Trump signed on Monday will hold, that those opposing it will win in court?
Well, they're already mounting. The last time I checked, and the number is probably higher right now, is that there are actually 12 states that are now contending that. So, I mean, it's very difficult and extremely challenging to get something in the 14th Amendment changed without some monumentous type of legislative action. So I do see some challenge to that. I do see some pause to that. Me personally, I don't see that surviving. But you never know.
Yeah, and of course, what happens in the interim? So the executive order was signed. There's, of course, a legal companionship that needs to accompany the executive order. By the executive order itself, things don't just change automatically. But that's a foregone conclusion given the strength, that the lock that Trump has on all the key institutions in the USA. But now that the challenges have been filed in court, what happens? Does the court then determine before what Trump wants to happen proceed, or the executive order proceeds as signed until the court resolves the issue? How does it work?
Correct. So usually what would happen, right? It is now signed, and I would say within the next week or two, you will have one judge from one state that will actually contend it, and more than likely there will be a pause and some type of litigation over the constitutionality of it.
Hear you on that. Blaine, many people are saying that, look, Trump is predictable. He does what he says he will do. America needed cleaning up. Immigration was a huge problem. That's why he has this new mandate. It is exactly what America wants. What he's doing now is what the majority of Americans want, so nobody should sneer at it. Is that a legitimate view to hold?
Again, I think the Democrats flubbed the immigration issue. We cannot allow our borders to be just open and everybody come over. It is alleged that the Venezuela, which has the highest crime rate, and I think it was Honduras, one of the other countries, emptied their jails and allowed all the criminals to come over. I don't know how true that is, but I hear that crime is down in those countries. And so, with that kind of information out there, Trump was given the advantage and the mandate to clean up immigration. Is he going to go too far? Is he radical to the right? Absolutely. But you have to look at the Latino community and look at 48% of Latino women voting for Trump and 53% of Latino women, and the vast majority of that immigration pipeline, 10 to 15 million people over the last couple of years, open borders, no checks at the border, allowed by Democrats. This is what we have. We basically gave this man a mandate. Now, has he gone too far with the birthright issue? Is there going to be an injunction against it? I am predicting an injunction within the next 2 weeks, which will halt the executive order. And then it's going to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. And like I said before, don't expect the Supreme Court to vote with Trump every time.
Hear you on that. Lorraine Badley joins us at the death. Lorraine, she represents the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, Delaware State Chair. Lorraine, Trump has come and he appears to be intending to keep his word on immigration. It's, as Jamaicans would say, frustration for a lot of Caribbean immigrants at this time. Do you see the court challenges holding up, or do you see mayhem where Caribbean illegal immigrants are concerned, insofar as their status to remain in the U.S. is concerned?
You're on mute.
I'm not hearing Lorraine at all.
You're on mute, Miss Badley.
Lorraine, are you hearing me? All right. I think no, I don't think she's hearing me.
Yes.
Yeah, hearing you now, Lorraine. Yes. Yes.
Yes. I'd be concerned because he has packed the court with Republican judges who are very loyal to him. So I don't think anymore that it's by the law. It's by, to me, it seems like they vote on things based on loyalty to the position that they have been given. So I'm not confident that they're going to not vote against, and especially in an area like that. They'll find a way to explain why it is. It's scary, and I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that they'll have a conscience and in some way be decent. But given that this has happened, I think we need to work on our countries where there is deportation issues and how we're treating them when they come back, so that we don't have a problem in our countries when they return.
Yeah.
In terms of not ostracizing someone. Some people are hardened criminals, some are not. Some have lost their papers for simple, stupid things. A ticket, a driving ticket that turned into a warrant, and you're deported, and because you're not a citizen. So I think that, and so Jamaica and other Caribbean islands just need to not snub their noses, try to figure out how we're going to treat our people properly and fairly, and make sure that when they return, that they are returning to a home, and and of course figure out a way to manage the crime and the massive amount of strain that it's going to put on all of us.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Lorraine, it's a pity you joined us at the death, but I thank you for just getting that comment in. Necessary words from you there. Sekou, thank you as usual, my friend. All the best. And Blaine, much appreciate the perspective, and we'll talk again.
Okay. Thank you.
Blaine Sadat, Sekou Clark, and Lorraine Badley there. Yeah, so Trump is back doing what he said he was going to do. You can either run and hide under the covers until it's all over. It's going to take a while, though, about 4 years, or you can endure it. It's good to see coordinated legal action to challenge some of the things which they believe are not in the interest of the masses, best interest of the masses. And so coordinated legal action in the face of perceived injustice is always a good place to start the advocacy. But look, the man has a mandate from Americans. The majority of Americans believe what he wants to do for the country is what they want done to the country. So I advise the rest of us to just strap in, and we're going to either endure or enjoy the ride. The news at 7 comes up after these.
It's a vibe.
Listen, new adventures.
It's a vibe.
Listen, new adventures.
Quite exciting.
Green, yellow, black flag.
We'll find the crevices and the corners.
Whether it be Magati in a town, yeah.
You don't think it's nothing yet?
Easy yourself.
Yard man style when I come true.
Are you really going to miss this? Prove you're not that guy. Every step counts. Sign up now. The time by Sagicor Sigma run is
7 o'clock. CVM News at 7 Tuesday, brought to you by KFC.
KFC's popcorn chicken, now available in barbecue. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Tonight
tonight in CVM News at 7. Ocho Rios cruise ship terminal repairs on track. Spanish Town social housing discrepancies corrected. Red tape, red flags. And in the business report, we're chilling at the Nest with the CB Group. While in sports, Sunshine Girls versus South Africa clash in Game 2 on Wednesday.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. I'm Nika Lewis. It's Tuesday, January 21, 2025. Thank you so much for joining us. The Prime Minister is staying bullish on road infrastructure, unveiling plans for a major highway expansion to boost connectivity in St. Anne. Speaking in Parliament on Tuesday, Andrew Holness announced that the government is working on extending the North-South Highway, starting in Mommy Bay, then running westward alongside the North Coast Highway, ending near Discovery Bay.
The expansion will be a 30-kilometer four-lane highway. The concept has been developed and the source of funding is being identified. So on that corridor, you will have a main boulevard which will carry traffic from the exit of the current North-South Highway in the Mommy Bay vicinity all along. But we will also extend the current North-South Highway with a parallel highway. And so persons heading to St. James would not have to drive through Mommy Bay. They could go straight on the highway and head into Montego Bay.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is again blaming decades of neglect under successive administrations, particularly the People's National Party, for the poor state of Jamaica's roads. He made the statement before the lower house, where he also outlined ongoing efforts to repair and upgrade infrastructure island-wide.
The reality is that the effects of climate change are creating havoc with infrastructure in several countries. This is not a unique problem to Jamaica. What makes matters worse in Jamaica is that our situation is compounded by 30 years of neglect and underinvestment in our infrastructure, including our roads. And if you were to look at when this neglect was most intense.
Holness also criticized the PNP for failing to maintain roadways during their time in office, accusing them of leaving the country ill-prepared for the challenges of climate change.
The destruction of the roads, Mr. Speaker, is very well the PNP fault. If they were maintaining the roads from all of those years coming, we wouldn't be in this position.
To blame the appalling state of the road network in Jamaica today on climate change is just totally disingenuous. The reality is that there has been an absence of any proper road maintenance policy for years. And you have been in office for 9 years, so you have superintended 9 years of neglect over the maintenance of Jamaica's road network, for which the people are holding you accountable now.
As citizens complain of little to no attention to their daily concerns, political advocates have come bearing solutions. Each party is claiming more efficiency over the other. However, many Jamaicans are still unimpressed. With more details, here's Trisha Gay Kelly.
A key concern in Jamaica is the extensive duration of governmental procedures. In simple terms, bureaucracy. It's evident in the numerous complaints heard every day of citizens lamenting the length of time taken to address their issues. The Troy Bridge, for example, which borders Trelawney and Manchester, collapsed in August 2021. 4 years later, and the bridge has still not been completed. But the Prime Minister has attributed such delays to bureaucracy levels in the country.
What delayed it was bureaucracy, inefficiency. Things just take too long to get done. We have the capital budget, but we don't convert it fast enough into the goods, services and products that you need.
He noted that his government also had the means to correct the problem. His primary recommendation was to remove the roadblocks by eliminating bureaucracy.
We must now create a laser focus on becoming much more efficient. We must remove the roadblocks, the red tape, the bureaucracy, the unnecessary documentation.
The Prime Minister has been highlighting the matter for years. However, since his proposal to resolve it, his government has faced backlash from critics who believe his administration has failed to make progress in this regard. Back in 2018, Holness called for political unity to reduce what he labeled a bureaucratic culture. The opposition, however, seemingly has its own plans for the country, as the party's leader, Mark Golding, has marketed himself as an expert on the subject.
I am versed in the development of legislation in this country. Under Porsche, I was in charge of the legislative program. We had to deliver record numbers of legislation to meet every test of the IMF in those days. And I'm going to bring those same skills to making our bureaucracy more user-friendly and efficient, so it works for Jamaica instead of being something that is considered a hindrance to progress in the country.
Golding, like Holness, has also proposed his solutions to the long-standing issue.
And we need to build a Team Jamaica approach. We need a mindset in the public sector that says, how can I make this situation better to make Jamaica more efficient and more productive? How can I help this person move forward in life? We need that kind of approach. And we need to work with the business community, with entrepreneurs, and back them as well, so that Jamaica can really put its best face forward to develop the economy and create wealth for the people.
As the leaders contemplate ways to cut red tapes in government, citizens anticipate action. Trisha Kelly, CVM News.
Well, Spanish Town Mayor Norman Scott says discrepancies in the Municipal Social Assistance Program flagged by the Auditor General have been corrected. With the latest, here's Trisha Kelly.
After a damning report from the Auditor General alleging improper bookkeeping and accountability under the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development's Municipal Assistance Program, the head of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation, Mayor of Spanish Town, Norman Scott, says the $52 million discrepancy detailed in the report has been rectified. The report found that of the $125.5 million spent in the program at the municipality, only $73.5 million of expenditure was verified. The mayor addressed the matter for the first time on Lead Story with George Davis.
After the Auditor General's team came and did their audited examinations, they left and they generated what they call an audit query, which came back to us, and subsequent to that, all of the discrepancies, all of the documentations that were not found at the time were made available. I don't think the Auditor General's team came back to have the audit query updated. But we have all found everything in place and are very much available for the team from both the Ministry of Local Government, because they also have an audit team too, and everything are in place to substantiate all the expenditure for all the various benefits that were given.
The mayor raised concerns about the resources within the council to properly administer programs of this magnitude with adequate reporting.
One of the issues that I find we need to have more persons with capacity building in the municipalities. So that is a shortfall, and that is something that needs to be looked at in order to prevent going further having these kinds of discrepancies. Now,
so, has the Auditor General been back since the release of the report?
Have not come back to substantiate these documentation, but they made contact to say that they will be coming back. They have not come back since.
Trisha Kelly, CVM News.
Expectations are high going into another round of negotiations with the Finance Ministry and several unions representing public sector workers. In an historic move, the Jamaica Civil Service Association JCSA's first female president hopes to settle the matter of increments coming out of the heads of agreement, despite talks among government members about fiscal challenges. With more public sector wage discussions on the horizon, the JCSA's first woman president is sharing that some of her 30,000 members are yet to receive their agreed increments.
We would have signed the agreement under the previous Minister of Finance, the Honorable Nigel Clark, on the 12th of September 2024, and we have inked those deals now. We have not yet received any financial amounts from those heads of agreement that was signed. We are still awaiting payments for our increments, which will, by the way, take effect in April of 2024. However, there's a caveat in that we must conclude the percentage increase in salary by the end of March.
Clark Griffiths says it's why it's critical that talks with the finance minister will yield positive outcomes and happen in a timely manner.
We are hoping that the minister facilitate the union so that we can conclude our negotiation on the 31st of March so that public servants can receive their 3 increments, because I can tell you that they are looking forward to it.
She is also not oblivious to the fiscal crunch that has been much talked about in recent times, but remains hyper-focused on getting the most out of negotiations for her members.
We understand that, but we also know that there are outstanding matters that has to be addressed, and we are looking forward to a very fruitful discussion in the upcoming negotiations, which should start in this month. We are optimistic that we will have a very productive negotiation, given the fact that it is a very, very demanding purse. Every single sector is demanding from the government, but the public servants are the ones who keep the wheels of government turning. And we are waiting for our share, and we look forward to working with the Minister of Finance, the first female Minister of Finance.
She was responding to questions at the JCSA's Manchester Annual General Meeting recently. We'll have so much more to come on CVM News at 7 right after this break.
Whatever the crunch you want with KFC's popcorn chicken. Delicious, crispy, irresistible. Now available in hot and spicy. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Flow brings new prepaid plans for everywhere you move. With more data to power the way you play, progress, and how you bring your vibe to the world. Flow has reimagined prepaid mobile plans with more data to use anywhere you like. Get 7 days with 25 gigabytes of any-use data for only $1,040. Download the Top Up Flow app today to unlock exclusive deals.
CVM TV and live Jamaica Premier League action on a Monday night. A match made in heaven. We call it Monday Match Night. Catch all the hard-pounding JPL Monday night action from now until the end of the season on CVM TV's Monday Match Night. Matchday Mondays at 7:45 p.m. with a rebroadcast Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Nothing else can quite match up. Monday Match Night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
Welcome back. So the Education Transformation Oversight Committee met Friday, reviewing some major wins and plans for the sector for 2025. And that includes setting new goals for students sitting Caribbean secondary exams.
That's right. The ministry has set non-negotiable targets for performance in the basic mathematics and English language subject areas. This follows reports that only 39% of students received passing grades in mathematics and 76% for English language in 2024. Education experts weighed in on just how possible meeting these goals are in this report.
The Education Ministry is targeting significantly improved performances in both literacy and numeracy in 2025, from a 76% pass rate in English language and 39% pass rate in mathematics in 2024 to 80 and 49% respectively this year. While commentators suggest it may be overly ambitious, some educators believe it is possible.
So it is achievable, but it will be achievable if we all play a part.
I am going to be an optimist and say that it is feasible.
Ojay Adlam, a numeracy specialist, and a literacy educator, Dr. Louis Focum, are aware of the challenges, including lack of qualified teachers due to migration and a lack of interest due to several socio-economic factors currently impacting performances. The Ministry of Education suggests a collective approach, including all education stakeholders, is essential.
We have to first identify what we can do to get students more engaged in schools. We can empower teachers to have more engaging lesson plans. We can incorporate technology. We can have more student-centered learning spaces. However, we have to look at the matter of the students' interest in education.
Both education experts are banking on the early introduction of concepts and collaboration with parents to improve performance, as student apathy is only one of the symptoms challenging reintegration into schools post-COVID-19.
We need to spend more time on how we can concretize to ensure we firm up our foundation with early childhood to ensure that when they matriculate from into primary school to do PEP, and then from PEP to the high schools now to do CSET CAPE and other examinations, then they are ready.
Good read alouds. I mean, we need to hone in and zero in on our oral storytelling culture and tradition, and bring that into the literacy classroom.
And as the ministry eyes extended learning hours and greater integration of technology, a review of curriculum to meet students' needs is also being touted as a solution.
You actually have to streamline the curriculum in those early grades and focus on basic reading and writing. That's what I would strongly recommend.
The more time they get to explore the concepts, the more time they get to practice, the more time they get to cover the curriculum, because some schools may not necessarily get to do so, given the space of time, and with the holidays coming in, and the whole idea of how do we get students working in the holidays and preparing for exams just the same.
But as students plunge into early exam preparation, time is now of the essence if the implementation of tactics to meet the new targets are to have the desired outcomes. Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
A 5-year-old girl had to be sheltered by her school principal after news surfaced that her father died in a motor vehicle collision in Trelawney. Curlin Brown recounts the essence of this heartbreaking scenario of a near miss at the same location just hours before.
The phone was a point of contact for 32-year-old Kamar Brown, affectionately called Andre, and several family members up to late night January 19. He had driven with his wife to assist her brother in Trelawney. Now, what happened on their way home to St. Anne marked the beginning of a twist of fate.
One trucker come home and one carrier overtake the truck. Head on in a way, we have to take a bush. And we just stop as we pass the truck, we stop and pray. And then we hear this at the exact same spot.
The same spot her heart leapt as she passed Monday morning at the site of emergency response units. The roadway was cleared, so she had no idea. But then a message was relayed. The police wanted to see her in person only.
And when we come, me have to sit down over But almost 3 hours we sit at a police station before he guy come. And then he say an accident and he succumbed to injuries at hospital.
Other information from the JCF's traffic investigators: while negotiating a corner along the North Coast Highway, the Mazda Andre was driving from Montego Bay reportedly collided with the front of a tanker. It's not clear if the motor truck was loaded with its flammable cargo. What's evident is how the smaller vehicle was drastically reduced in size. The senior Brown looking on the wreckage said it was hard to express his emotions.
Really sorry.
And for a praying mother, questions.
When me go wrong, Jesus. When me go wrong, Lord, me don't know. Me not go nowhere wrong. All me do is pray, ask God to protect them. And then this morning, me call you, me call him this morning, no answer.
Also struggling beyond reasoning.
He not even saying sister yet, you know. Cause she just come, we are planning to go spend the day.
She just come?
Yes.
From overseas?
He must think we did a plan to go spend the day with you know his family them also.
Included in the plan, a physical link-up with her beloved brother to top up their virtual December 22 and 23 birthdays. Not one where he's recorded as Trelawney's first road fatality in 2025. Mayor of Falmouth Colin Gager was also saddened and extended sympathy to the family. Now, having wished in his New Year's charge against an increase in fatal crashes, he remains hopeful.
It is still my wish that we will be able to avoid deaths on our roads.
Curlin Brown, CVM News.
Tragedy indeed. Well, stay with us for much more after this break.
Whatever the crunch you want with KFC's popcorn chicken. Delicious, crispy, irresistible. Now available in hot and spicy. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
High energy bills getting you down? Lighten up, man, with Console Solutions. Slash your costs with our solar energy system panels, lighting and water heaters, all backed by expert maintenance and repairs. We specialize in custom designs, installation, energy audits, and consultations. Get your home and business off the grid and let the sun work for you. Call Console Solutions at 876-844-5512 or email us at consolesolutionsja@gmail.com today to lighten up your bill.
You can get so much more when you shop on credit at Courts. Get more of the furniture, appliances, and electronic brands you love with up to 30% off all January. Get more flexibility with low monthly payments and up to 48 months to repay. Get more of what you need right away and pay later. Get more convenient repayment methods via Courts.com, bank transfer, or in-store. Get more protection for your purchase with Super Shield. Get more value with Courts, bringing value home. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. Now to the business report with Joel Crosskill.
Lots to share with you in the business report today about a bold move that some may even have called cuckoo at the time. An idea was hatched by the Caribbean Broilers Group that had the potential to let fly the coop of convention towards currents capable of lifting the sector onto a sustainable flight path as a state-of-the-art air-chilled facility. Its construction, weathered by the challenges of the age and the uncertain climes of St. Catherine's fledgling light industry potentials, ruffled the feathers of factors of what may now become possible within Jamaica's broiler sector and beyond.
What is the future for the nest? We named this facility the nest because we said this is just the beginning, the start of life. A definition for the nest is a place that fosters growth and development, an incubator, a home. For years we would have ideated, we would have dreamt, but the nest is where this potential becomes reality. Many people mistakenly believe that the poultry industry is simply made up of a CB group, and Jamaica Broilers. And I do take a moment to acknowledge Mr. Robert Levy, the chair of the Jamaica Broilers Group. The nest was never intended to be for CB's benefit alone. We have always looked at this for industry and for our country. So I do say thank you for being here to show your support. You know, we compete hard, and we compete on the shelves of the many customers that we have here today, or for their storerooms, or to be on their menu. But I will tell you, every time I see a news clip of you investing in another country, opening up another operation, exporting to another country, I'm actually cheering you on. That's foreign exchange earned for Jamaica. That's jobs in Jamaica. And that's us as a little industry trying to compete on a global scale. In food and agriculture, the industry is from the policy to the plate. Government, suppliers, competitors, customers, and consumers, we rise and fall together. And so the reverse is also true. When the industry does well, it means that all members along the value chain do well too.
It seems to be a recipe for success that excited the palate of Agriculture Minister Floyd Green, who provided compliments to its chefs.
Today we open the single largest investment ever in our agricultural sector. When we categorize this investment, this is not an investment in manufacturing. This is an investment in agriculture. This is an agricultural company, because we do have a style in Jamaica that when the agriculture reaches a certain stage, we transition it and call it something different. This is what modern agriculture looks like. A fully integrated processing plant that wastes nothing, that ensures that it has a significant knock-on effect.
The overall menu of integration of CB's systems suggests an approach to development designed to anticipate and meet the appetite of the market for the foreseeable future in a sustainable way, while also inspiring a new generation of agricultural entrepreneurs.
This nest, I hope, will unlock the mindset of the future generation. We think of agriculture as a last resort, a what left. Our best and brightest minds aren't generally pushed into this field. But today, I hope people will see that agriculture is not for small farmers only. Agriculture is also big business.
Along with a number of other ecologically mindful innovations. The new plant, which sees the relocation of the current CARICOM Caribbean Farmer of the Year processing operations from Kingston to St. Catherine, as well as a shift from the water-based processing to air chilling. The nest circular design is expected to save CB Group 250 million litres of water annually, with a water treatment plant on site, allowing for 100% recycling and repurposing for crop irrigation.
Remember, before there was an industrial revolution, there was an agrarian revolution. We had to figure out how to feed ourselves before we could think of machinery and factories and so forth. Today, the G8 still control 80% of the agricultural trade. You think that's by accident?
Ultimately, the $15 billion Jamaican dollar investment gives the island the potential to become 100% self-sufficient in poultry meat.
The number one thing, this air chill plant lays the foundation for Jamaica to become a net exporter of chicken in less than 10 years. And if all the stars align, it'll be less than 5. Consider that only 5 out of the 8 G8 countries can say that. Consider that only 11 out of the G20 fit that bill. Like we do in track and field and so many other categories, we're little, we're tallower, and we punch way above our weight class. This means Jamaica is on a path to grow past the level of self-sufficiency, a major milestone for food security. And then we can start filling the gap for the other Caribbean islands who import from extra-regional sources $200 million per year.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
Stay with us. CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
KFC, what we're pulling up. Anything for the taste of a KFC, big deal. The time by KFC is
7:30.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for a grand time.
That I know me. We never said that. But who going to believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today, no longer. Then no me face that. We never make no record or beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
Excuse me, that looks delicious. Where did you get that pizza?
Pizza, please. Best pizza in town.
Pizza Please, the widest variety of pizzas in Jamaica. Grab a slice or order a whole pie. Find us at 4 locations across Kingston and Ocho Rios and at pizzapleaseja.com. Pizza Please, Italian pizzas, Jamaican flavors.
Welcome back. Now here's what's happening online in social media.
So what's trending in our local social media spaces? Prime Minister Andrew Holness congratulated Donald Trump on his inauguration as President of the United States, expressing warm wishes on behalf of the Jamaican government and people. He also stated that he looks forward to collaborating closely with Trump and his administration to strengthen ties and mutual interests. Here are some of your reactions. At Tuscan Rush writes, Andrew, don't speak for all of us, please and thanks. Speak for yourself. At Cutakam asks, what might those interests be? At 11_50_5 says, very good Prime Minister Holness on congratulating POTUS. Jamaica has always had special place in the hearts of true Americans. At Althea Aikens comments, enjoy working with someone who looks down on you. He sure don't want immigrants from Jamaica in the USA, legal or illegal. But go on, man, big him up. God save us. At Lady K. Hutchinson posts, are we that ignorant? Wouldn't this congratulatory message be sent to anyone holding that office? Jamaica is part of the world, and there's such a thing as international relations and diplomacy. We're just wrong and strong. And that's what's trending online today. Continue to share your thoughts with us on X at CVM TV and CVM Television on Facebook. I'm Trisha Gay Kelly.
We take a look at regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley wants opportunities provided that facilitates the freedom of movement across the region, as well as a return to completion of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy Framework. More from CBC News, Barbados.
We've done it over the years by looking at different sectors. Graduates and agricultural workers and security workers were the last two, I think, that came on. Media practitioners, artists, they were all there before. We have, as a government,